We are live and we are back. Let's go. I'm Cory, one half of the Quarter Full Effect podcast, and I'm back like I never left with another installment of Wealth Wednesdays. I don't know how to do the intro on this one. This is the 18th one, so I should know by now. But here on the Quarter Full Effect podcast, we discuss health and wealth, finances and fitness, and everything in between. And we want to make sure you save more and say less and keep making better your best. Yes, yes. However, this is your first time tuning in. My co-host Jordan, who handles the fitness side of this podcast, is still on paternity leave. So in the meantime, we started Wealth Wednesdays where we get straight to the financial information. And today we're going to talk about, everything in between. Is it still finance related? Okay, but as you see the topic of it, Deion Sanders got a new job and everybody upset. And I'm like, okay, my goodness. But before we get started, y'all know what y'all need to do. Y'all need to hit that like button. Shout out to the YouTube algorithm. Please help us out. Please share and subscribe as well to the YouTube channel. On the podcast platforms, please leave those rate and reviews as well. It will be much appreciated. For myself, I'm Sideline_Cory on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And again, my co-host Jordan is Stop Stalling J on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well. And his business page is FinallyFit on Instagram and Facebook. And his website is FinallyFit.live. All of this information is in the show notes on YouTube. And again, I'm gonna remember to do the disclaimer now. This is for entertainment purposes only. You need to do your own research. None of this is financial advice or investment advice. Don't sue me, sue your mama, okay? But I always wonder, to do topics like this. I always think is it really that big of a deal? Like at the end of the day, is it that big of an issue? But when things are trending on the internet, shout out to the algorithm. You got to hop in so you can get your little couple views. And I'm thinking, are y'all that upset? And I think a handful of people, majority of people, don't understand the college football landscape. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. And this time, right, we normally do a CNBC article. We don't got CNBC this time, but we got another valid source. Okay, Yahoo. I did want to talk about the student loans real quick because I know that keeps changing. Apparently, the notice y'all got in late November, I think it's 22nd or 23rd, that said that y'all student loans, your forgiveness had been approved. Now, had occurred, but your application had been approved. Apparently, they meant to say that your application had been received. My goodness, but I'll talk about that when I do the student loan recap at the end of the year. But my goodness, the student loan situation is it's insane. But now we're gonna just start on this Deion Sanders situation. I want to do this article because I wanted to get the numbers as far as his contract, what the new one is with Colorado. But this headline from Yahoo News says Deion Sanders offered a $29.5 million deal, but Colorado athletic director admits they don't have the money yet. So I was like, so instead of just talking about the numbers and what's happening, all the different changes, there are multiple articles from different viewpoints. But I'm like, well, they said they don't got the money yet. So, but for quick recap, if you do not know who Deion Sanders is, Deion Sanders is formerly a professional football player, arguably the best corner of all time, and one of the best defensive players of all time. He's in the Hall of Fame, and he also played Major League Baseball as well. And he actually played Major League Baseball and played in the NFL at the same time. And for those of you who don't know, the Major League Baseball season and the NFL season, they do run together in the just as NFL season is starting, the Major League Baseball season is ending. So sometimes he would play a Major League or a football game and then go play a baseball game all in the same day. I believe he scored a touchdown and hit a home run in the same day. And again, Major League Baseball, not the minor leagues like where Jordan was at. I'm talking about major leagues. Okay, Deion Sanders, one of the greatest athletes of all time, just straight off of his God-given ability. Obviously putting that crazy work. But Deion Sanders is the head coach currently of Jackson State University and HBCU in Mississippi. However, as you can see from this article, he has now taken a deal with Colorado for $29.5 million. And I think anyone who understands how college sports work in general, the coaches from a recruiting standpoint are going to come there and say that they're going to be there forever. They're not going to be there forever. Let's start there. I think a lot of people are upset that he said he was going to do all this work as if college coaches come and stay forever. Now, even if they get extremely top tier positions. And this is what I tweeted out. I said, if Jimbo Fisher and Chip and Brian Kelly can leave, then so can Deion Sanders. And if you don't understand, those two coaches know who they are. Jimbo Fisher was at Florida State University. In short, you can't get a better job than Florida State. You can, but it's at the very top. Florida State had won a national championship, was one of, speaking of Florida State, this is where Deion Sanders went to college, ironically. Okay, but Florida State is one of the best institutions is from a college football standpoint. And Jimbo Fisher still left and went to Texas A&M because he went to the SEC to get the SEC bag. Brian freaking Kelly was at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is at the top. It is the tippy top. Okay, from a college football standpoint, Florida State and Notre Dame, there aren't quote unquote more resources. It's like leaving Google and going to Apple, and it's like, I mean, yeah, Apple got more money, I guess, but it's not like you're like quote unquote going up in rank. You're already at the very top, the creme de la creme. Jimbo Fisher and Brian Kelly both left top universities to go to another top university. Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU, and it's like, my goodness, got to get the SEC back though. If you don't know, SEC is it is the top as far as college football conferences. That's where you see Alabama. That's where Nick Saban works. Nick Saban is the highest paid state employee in the state of Alabama. I think I don't know what he still gets paid. I think it's around like $8 million, something like that. But all that to say, even when college football coaches are at top universities, the top of the top, if they're not at like, I guess, quote unquote, like the number one, right? There's 1A and then there's one. Even if they're at the very top, a Notre Dame or a Florida State head football coach will still leave to go get some greener grass. So if you're at an HBCU, which from a financing standpoint and from a talent standpoint is nowhere near the top right, FCS, I believe it's FCS, it's not FBS, FBS being the highest, you're going to go get that bag. Now, Deion Sanders did come and say a lot of great things when he got hired by Jackson State and how he's going to make a change for HBCUs. I thought he was there for 2 years. Apparently, he was there for 3 years. From college sports standpoint, but especially football, 3 years is quote unquote a very long time. Most when you're doing your recruiting, even though he did just get the number one player this past year, number one talent in the nation, 3 years from a college football standpoint is roughly what most athletes are doing. Not many top athletes are redshirt juniors. Redshirt meaning you didn't play your freshman year, you got redshirted, and then you play the next 3 years. So technically you can be a senior from a credit standpoint in college, but technically you're a junior, still have another year of eligibility. A lot of the top athletes that you see coming to the draft, they're usually sophomores or redshirt sophomores, which means at most they're there for 3 years. Okay, so it's not like he came there and then just took the rug from other people. And not to mention, if you're going to Jackson State University, for most of those athletes, NFL really wasn't going to be your stomping grounds anyways. But it's since his arrival at Jackson, Mississippi, the coach of Jackson State University Tiger football team, Deion Sanders has been making headlines regarding his coaching style. Oh, by the way, yeah, a coaching style, outspoken personality, and team success. I wouldn't say, Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan, but Deion Sanders is definitely one of the most popular players of all time. Again, his nickname is Prime Time. Okay, Prime Time Television. That is his nickname is Prime Time. Okay, so Deion Sanders, from a personality standpoint, extroverts of all the extroverts. I don't know if he made this up, but if you look good, if you look good, you feel good, you feel good, you play good, they pay good. This is this person, Deion Sanders. Okay. And then from increasing funding around the sports program, right, to recruiting 5-star athletes, Sanders has more than shaken up things right up in the Mississippi Delta. Current students, alum, and football fans alike had high expectations and were fueled with excitement, knowing a living legend, shout out to Deion Sanders, was taking on the reins as the coach of Mississippi's largest HBCU. Anticipation was fair considering the wealth of athletic knowledge and influence Sanders would bring to the football program. Yes, he got them a deal with Under Armour. He got them, I believe, a 10-year contract. They're on college game day. They've had a lot of success in the 3 years that he's been there outside of, from a football standpoint. I believe he's only lost 5 games and he has 2 championships. And they're going for a third this year. They're undefeated, I believe, this year. Entering the NFL right again from Florida State in 1989. He had to play 14 seasons. Again, cornerback. Okay. Let you know he's the best cover corner of all time. There we go. My $1 million search. With such a resume, right, onlookers knew things were about to be up and stuck for JSU. And again, see, if y'all don't know the history of Deion Sanders, Deion, I believe he has 3 sons. One of his sons is a junior, then he has 2 sons that aren't named after him. But Deion's, I believe it's his youngest son, plays quarterback. And when Deion retired, I guess shortly after, he went and he worked for NFL Network. I believe not just NFL Network, but he was on NFL Network as one of the commentators there. And during that time period, he was coaching his son who was playing football, I believe, in Texas. And then once his son got to high school, he was his son's high school football coach, and they was tearing people up. Okay. So it just naturally, you can sort of, see the writing on the wall. Well, he's probably going to go and coach his son in college. Now, the question was going to be, right, is Deion going, is his son going to follow in his footsteps and go to Florida State? Because then it's like, well, at the time, right, Jimbo Fisher is there. Florida State's one of the top jobs. And, Deion Sanders isn't Jeff Saturday. If you know who Jeff Saturday is, didn't have any coaching experience at all, is not a Hall of Famer, is not in the same breath as a talent or any type of football breath as Deion Sanders, but is somehow the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, an NFL team, right? Deion Sanders, I guess, doesn't have the Jeff Saturday stripes, but it's like, it's not like he's probably going to get that Florida State job. Long story short, obviously his son ended up committing to Jackson State. That's where Deion went, and his son's been playing starting quarterback there this entire time, and his son is transferring from Jackson State to Colorado with Deion in this new coaching change. But it's saying that, with such a resume, Jackson State was going to be on the up and up. And while things went up since the rival coach prime, things were not stuck for as long as fans hoped. And again, like I said, he wasn't going to be there for 10 years. Not to mention he had that issue this year with I forget what team and the coach's name was. But if you don't know, Deion, I believe, had to have 2 of his toes amputated due to football injuries, turf toe. And anyways, he can't jog, he can't run/jog anymore. And he normally would take a jog around the field, a lap around the field, but now he has to walk, so it takes him a little bit longer, to do that. And anyways, he has some issues doing that pre-game. The players are cussing at him, et cetera, et cetera. This is Deion saying, and this is the one thing too. I think is what Michael Jordan did is he dimmed. I mean, it's Michael Jordan, but he dimmed a lot of the light for people. But like if Deion Sanders was out right now during the social media era, you already see what he's doing right now. If he was in his prime time during this time frame, my goodness, like this is Deion Sanders. Like this isn't. I mean, he's not the. You could call him. He called him the Michael Jordan in the NFL, but I shot to Tom Brady. But it's like this isn't just this isn't even like a Hall of Famer. Like this is the top of the top of the top. Like this isn't some regular person. And for some college athletes to be cussing at Deion Sanders, the disrespect. Anyways, after that game, the coach didn't want to shake his hand, and he sort of pushed him or whatever. Deion's side, his side. Anyway, in the press conference, the coach tried to say Deion wasn't swag, which is the conference for the HBCUs for D1. And it's like, yeah, you're right. Deion isn't swag, and this guy, this coach, played in the SWAC conference, but it's like this is Deion Sanders. Like you can't disrespect Deion Sanders. He's bulletproof when it comes to anything football related. He's bulletproof. He is one of the gods. You think Jordan go? No, Deion Sanders is one of the guys when it comes to football. So he in quote can't do any wrong, right? But recently, after he announced that after 3 seasons. Shout out to Lane Kiffin, who left. What he left? He left US. He left UCF after a year. To leave USC after a year. USC, one of the top schools. Is that where you're at right now? Y'all see what I'm saying? Y'all know what Lane Kiffin did? Was Lane Kiffin at USC for a year? No, he left Tennessee for a year. Lane Kiffin coached the Oakland Raiders for 2 seasons, then went to Tennessee for a year, then went to USC. My goodness. No, he was never at UCF. Who was that I was thinking about? Anyways, though, coaches just jump in college like crazy, if y'all didn't know. And people are mad, saying like, sold a dream that he's not fulfilling. It's like, do you know how many college coaches, football, basketball, everything, they sit down these recruiting pitches, go to players' houses, hometowns, and yeah, they know if they leave it or not, or they know when they're going to leave it. The opportunity arises based on the upcoming results of the season they're preparing for. They already know if they're going to leave or not. If they're not at the top, even if you go to Notre Dame, again, Notre Dame, Florida State, they'll still leave. So like it doesn't matter. And now they got the transfer portal now where players can leave right away too, and they all got the extra year, maybe 2 years due to COVID. But so after 3 seasons, he lead the program to accept University of Colorado. His new Colorado role will be more than quadruple his most recent salary at JSU, totaling $29.5 million over 5 years. So you got $30 million over 5 years, so $6 million a year before this is 29.5 before bonuses and incentives. To put this in perspective, as the head coach, and this is why I have an issue when I'm doing the article. Shout out to the finances. To put this in perspective, as the head coach of JSU, Deion Sanders earned $300,000 per year. How this? It's more than quadruple. If you earn $3K a year, I mean, 4 times that is $1.2 million a year. Y'all, I want to be very clear. If you're making, let's say he was getting $300K a year, and right, let's say it's 5-year contract to compare it to Colorado. That's $1.5 million. Colorado's giving him $29.5 million over 5 years. If someone, this is relatively the same job, right? He's still doing college football coaching, head coaching. If someone were to come to you and say, hey, we're going to quadruple your salary and you're going to do the same job, and we're actually going to provide you more resources, would you turn it down? Y'all can say all you want to say about the dreams he sold. This is how college sports work. I don't know why it's such a big deal that I know why it's a big deal, but it's like one thing college football coaches are going to do is leave. That's what they do. And if you're getting 4 times your salary, you telling me at your current job right now, you wouldn't leave more, and it's more than, I don't know why it says it's more than it is more than quadruple. It's 10 times. If he got 300,000 a year, right? 10 times 300,000 is 3 million, and he's getting more than 3 million over 5 years. That'd be, yeah, because 3 times 5 is 15. He's getting 6 million a year. This is 20 times, y'all. Hold on, let me do my calculator real quick. We get 30 million divided by 5. Okay, 6 million. I just had to make sure. It's 20. Okay, if someone came and offered you, if you make 6 figures, 10 times is already $1 million. If someone came and said, we're going to give you you're going to do the exact same job, but with better resources, obviously the competition is going to be higher, right? Because moving up to Colorado, Pac-12. But outside of that, they're saying, yeah, we're going to give you more resources, right? Quote unquote, a better condition. And we're going to 10x your salary. This is a 20x. This is 20x the gross. This isn't like a bonus. This is crazy. Oh my goodness. Announcement sparked a significant debate across social media regarding Sanders' commitment to JSU and the calling from God he claimed he adhered to when taking the job. Yeah, and all right, if y'all God can, y'all don't know what God said to this man. First off, what we're not about to do is act like people is ultra religious. But I mean, look, he did use that. But why? Again, if y'all don't know anything about college recruiting and coaches, it's all about your pitch. And he's going to Mississippi. He's going to a Bible Belt state. It makes sense to leverage God in this case. Y'all gotta learn how to play the game so you can get a 20x gross raise. Y'all is insane. Yeah, Peter taking job. And while many fall on varying sides of the fence concerning his decision to take his calling somewhere else, what can't be denied is the financial incentive he will receive in his new head coaching position. Yeah, he's getting the whole bag. Okay, here goes a tweet from Deion. Change makes people get uncomfortable. Change is inevitable in every age and stage of life, but it somehow, some way brings love but hate, joy but sorrow, and life and death. There's a time and season for every activity under the sun. The Bible declares change is inevitable. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is according to the Denver Post, breaking down his salary. So 5.5 million his first season, 500,000 in base pay, 1.75 million supplemental income for radio, television, and public appearances, 1.74 for promotion and fundraising, 1.5 million for development of the student athlete. His salary will increase to 5.75 million in 2024, which is not next year but the year after. 5.9 to 2025, 6.1. Okay, 6.3. Okay, just showing how his contract's broken down. Although the numbers are lucrative, Colorado's University Athletic Director Rick George admitted that they have not yet secured the funds to fulfill Sanders' proposed contract. We don't have the money yet, but I know we'll have it. I don't know what that means. So I'm not worried about that piece, George explained when asked about Sanders' contract. Why would he say that? I guess he had to disclose it out loud. George didn't disclose how they will pay Sanders. But based on the statement made to the press, it appears the fund will be secured sooner than later. Shout out to the donors, the boosters. In other news regarding the matter, Deion Sanders met with his past and future teams to discuss the changes and impact. Yeah, I mean, he did say when he met with his new team in Colorado, he said, hey, he kept saying, I'm coming, right? He's bringing some luggage in his Louis. He's obviously bringing his son, starting quarterback. He's going to bring, some of the athletes. My guess is Travis Hunter, the number 1 recruit from last year. From the class of 2020, class of 2022, he's probably coming with them too. But in all serious though, I don't. I'm not sure what some. I'm just gonna highlight this and leave it up. I'm not sure what some of y'all want somebody to do when they get offered this. Shout out to the financial disparity that y'all complain so much about in the Black community. At some point in time, if you're gonna get 20 extra gross outside of it being illegal and against your morals, you gotta go. Right? You shouldn't do anything illegal at all ever. And obviously, whatever your morals are, as long as it's not illegal, don't break those. Outside of that, this sounds like it was an easy decision to make. If somebody come and give me 20 times my gross to do the exact same job I'm doing with more resources, right? A bigger spotlight. And then we see and that's the thing. See, there is no bigger spotlight for Deion Sanders. This is prime time. He is the spotlight. He's the prime time spotlight. Okay, so I mean, this is just more resources he'll have from a recruiting standpoint. If you didn't know, Colorado's terrible at football, right? Deion is going there hopefully to turn it around. That's his goal. But they went 1-11 last year. So obviously, when a team is really bad, they're more likely to fire their head coach. So head coaching position would open. So it makes more sense that again he would go to a program, right, that isn't widely recognized. I think the issue is not that he left Jackson State, is the fact that he went to Colorado, but that's why I sort of brought up Jeff Saturday as a situation where it's like, I mean, Jeff Saturday went from from hiking to Peyton Manning. Shout out to Jeff Saturday, right? He was pretty good, but he wasn't Deion Sanders. But he went from hiking to Peyton Manning to ESPN, and then now he literally has a head coaching job in the NFL. And that's the part where it gets sort of confusing. Yeah, I mean, he's a head coach already. This is insane. Jeff Saturday. But I think what's really gonna happen, and that's why I brought up the fact that he was coaching his son in high school, is very simple. His son is a very good quarterback. I wouldn't say extremely good because he hasn't played top competition yet. I think there's some people were saying he should be up for the Heisman, but come from Jackson State, highly unlikely. But depending on how he shows out at Colorado, my guess is he's going to do 2 more years. Yeah, he should be doing 2 more years. My guess is if he has 2 more years left. But I think what Deion's going to try to do, and shout out to legacy, I think he's going to try to coach his son in the NFL. Just like how he secured a position with an extremely terrible team, Colorado. It makes simple sense that if his son is one of the best top prospects coming out of college, he's going to be a high draft pick. And usually teams with high draft picks hire new head coaches. It's a very, easy way to set this up. Now, will that happen? Will his son pan out? Will, what teams will need new quarterbacks, right, et cetera, et cetera. That stuff they can't control, but they can't control the work his son puts in. And as far as what he looks like coming out of school, he is at a big enough school now, Pac-12, where he's not going to get knocked from being at Jackson State. He won't get knocked for being at Colorado. Shout out to Josh Allen coming from freaking Wyoming. But it's interesting to see the flack that Deion Sanders is getting, as if it's not well known, whether you agree with it or not, but how hard it is for Black coaches or Black athletes from an NFL perspective to get a position. Again, and this is where it gets confusing. Where are y'all talking about Jeff Saturday? How did Jeff Saturday get a head coaching job in NFL before Deion Sanders? Now, who knows if Deion actually wanted one? Again, I think he's semi trying to set up to coach his son in the NFL because that's something he can do right for the next, damn near, 20 years from an NFL standpoint. Shout out to Tom Brady. Tom trying to pay for like 30 years. But, that's another, 20 years right there. He continued to coach his son. He's been coaching him the entire time. So I assume that relationship is good. But it's like, I have to keep saying this is prime time. Like out of all the athletes, like when you talk about, I mean, Deion Sanders is literally on the starting all-time defense. He's outside of Lawrence Taylor. They're probably, those are the only two. Lawrence Taylor and Deion Sanders probably the first two people where you're like, yeah, there's no discussion. These people are on the team. Find me 9 other players, but these two are on the starting defense all the time. This isn't even like, again, I have to say it again. This isn't some Hall of Famer. This is the top of the top. And the flack he's getting for going to JSU, it's not like he did a piss poor job either. I mean, different if he was 5 and he's 27-5 or something like that. Different if he was 5 and 27. It's right. It's different. He had a terrible record. They hadn't had any success on the field, right? Regardless of what happened off the field, but different than having any success on the field. But my goodness, hell, Jim Harbaugh left the NFL to come back to college. These college bags is crazy. These college bags is crazy out here, y'all, for the head coaching positions. And college, They have a lot more control because they get to decide who everyone that comes in. A college head coach, as far as football, is like the GM and the president and the head coach and the owner from an NFL standpoint. So you have a lot more control and power from a college football standpoint. I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves. I'm guaranteeing you, Deion Sanders is not saying, and he won't be in Colorado at the closeout of this year. I mean, closeout of this decade. When 2030 starts, Deion Sanders will not be at Colorado. I'd be surprised if he stays for this entire contract. But you know, we don't know exactly, what positions Deion has been offered right in the past, as far as higher positions or NFL type positions. But in short, Deion is well within his right, because we're talking about if Peyton Manning wanted a head coaching job in the NFL, never mind. And I mean, to be clear, the delta between Deion and Peyton is not. Well, Deion is definitely the best in his position. Peyton is not. The delta between Deion and Peyton is not that far. I mean, is Deion higher as far as all time athletes in NFL history than Peyton? Because Peyton's at least second in his position. Shout out to Joe Montana, but Peyton's second. I mean, he's not over Brady. So, and Deion's number one in his position. Just trying to keep in a band. So it's one of those things where, yeah, shout out to everything that he said when he got hired there, but that's just part of the process. That's just part of the process. What they always say. Y'all be surprised when they tell these college kids when they come recruit them. And not to mention, if you have spoken to a college athlete, even if they get a full ride, it's not, they get 4 1-year contracts. So each year they essentially have to be offered again. They get, access to those 4 contracts, regardless if they get redshirted or not. But it's not like they get signed a 4-year contract and they're just good to go. Those college athletes still have to meet a standard when they get there, and they can get a full ride as far as their freshman year, and then the next year that contract, that offer can be gone. So it's not like he's leaving that many people high and dry. And by the way, this is college football. If y'all think that every coach says, hey, this is going to be my last year, no, we're recruiting, every coach, some coaches do that in a handoff process, right? And they make it clear, like, hey, I'm getting ready to transition out, and this is going to be my replacement. Then that replacement starts taking over from the recruiting process, so they start letting them know, hey, this is going to be your head coach. But most college coaches, 99% of them, they get up and at them. Or how about when college coaches get fired? What about that? Any flack, to the president or athletic director of the school when they just fire a coach and he did all this recruiting, got all these kids here? And not to mention too, he is leaving HBCU, but it's not like he's leaving black players hanging, because it's just football. So majority of the people are black players. Now, whether or not they're gonna want to go to Colorado, that's neither here nor there. But it's not like he's leaving black players to go, coach some white players, even though he isn't going to Colorado. There's a whole bunch of black players in college football. So shout out to Deion Sanders. Shout out to y'all tripping over this borderline insane. At the end of the day, he's getting 20 times. He's going from 300,000 a year to 5 million a year. Yeah, you kind of got to leave. You kind of got to leave. If someone come and give you at least 10x, it's that quadruple. Let's just go quadruple. Will that take your gross salary, multiply by 4, and it's the same job with more resources? You're staying. Hell, never mind. Most of you are 4-time, and most people, right? Once you hit 30K, right? 4-time increase gonna put you at 6 figures. If you make 6 figures, right? 100,000 times 4 is $400,000, $500,000. I wish someone would come and offer me 400,000. I mean, 4 times my salary. And people talking about why you leave. What? At some point in time, shout out to the finance, right? Wealth Wednesdays. You gotta go get this bag. You gotta do what's best for your family. And Deion is not a billionaire, and he did not play. It's not like LeBron or Kobe. Rest in peace, Kobe. Well, they got the massive contracts. Deion wasn't playing. He got top contracts, but he wasn't playing like now when they get crazy money. He wasn't playing at that time. So Shannon Sharp always says, he tells mom, "Why can you wait like 10 years to have me?" He didn't get that crazy of a bag when he was playing. Let me see. I think his net worth was only 40 million. Oh, hear me clicking and clacking. Yeah, it says Deion Sanders' net worth is $45 million. He's shut up. All right, I'm about to end this, but I just like putting stuff on the internet. People just be capping. Like, y'all be saying stuff with no source, and y'all know what you're talking about. Most people talking about Deion Sanders know nothing about college football and how college sports work from a recruiting standpoint, and acting like he's leaving like these kids behind. Y'all lost y'all damn mind. Brian Kelly left Notre Dame. Excuse me for yelling. He left Notre Dame. Do y'all know what? Do you know? Do you know what Notre Dame is when it comes to college football? It's arguably the best one. How you lead a best one? How you lead a best? He says his net worth is $45 million. Deion Sanders right is considered. He's considered one of the most gifted athletes of all time, and one of the very few who excelled in two professional sports at the same time. That's what I'm saying. He played two professional sports at the same time. Not again. Jordan even played two sports at the same time. Like I don't think people understand the talent of this. Yeah, only him and Bo Jackson, I believe, did this. And while Bo never appeared in a Super Bowl or World Series, he did face off. Did this? Hold on. Yeah. In 1989, he hit a home run in a baseball game and scored a touchdown in an NFL game in the same week. Not same day, I guess, same week. Yeah. He's compared to Bo Jackson, did the same thing. Bo Jackson's up there with Deion. Bo doesn't play. He only played 4 years in the NFL, and I wish they would go ahead and just put Bo in, but you got to play 5 years in the NFL to qualify for the Hall of Fame. Got a minimum of 5 years, so that's why Bo Jackson isn't in the NFL Hall of Fame. But I think they should just put him in there and just get it over with. But yeah, y'all. I mean, my goodness, he's getting that much. And then let me see what the highest paid corner is right now. Yeah, they're playing. I mean, look at this money these players are getting, y'all. They're getting way bigger, man. Deion paid away for them. But they're getting a way bigger bag. It's gonna be the last thing I gotta do. Top 10. Look, this is just for this year. Jair Alexander. By the way, Jair is a dog. But I mean, all these people deserve their money. But he's getting 31 million. Like, come on, y'all. Like Deion wasn't getting these type of bags, so he don't go get it now. And if he that's the one thing too. Like if Deion's trying to be a billionaire, he got to go get some type of money. Again, he's not LeBron, where we know, right, quote unquote, right, he has a lot of money, in this type of situation. But when you one of the greatest athletes ever, and all that work you put in, again, Deion got missing 2 toes, by the way. Now go ahead and get this bread, y'all. But all right, that's it. If you get 4 times an increase, please leave and don't listen to none of these haters on the internet. And by the way, if you don't know anything about college sports, I don't even know why you're making a comment on him. I think because he's leaving HBCU. My goodness. Again, Jeff Saturday. Please do your research on Jeff Saturday and explain to me how, he has a higher head coaching position than Deion Sanders. And then come get to me about Deion leaving for greener pastures. But all right, y'all. Again, before y'all head out, y'all gotta hit that like button. Share and subscribe. Shout out to the YouTube algorithm. Please leave those rating reviews as well on the podcast platforms. Again, I'm Silent_Cory, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. My co-host Jordan is Stop Stalling J, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well. Jordan's business page is FinallyFit, Instagram and Facebook, and then his website is FinallyFit.live. Again, the 5:30 online training sessions have started. 5:30 a.m., not 5:30 p.m., 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time have started on Monday and Wednesday. And then myself, for my financial coaching, my information is in the show notes. All right. If y'all have any questions, concerns, please reach out to us. But if not, it's time to get up out of here. Again, the student loan information, it'll be towards the end of the year. I'm going to do a student loan recap, how to pay off debt, what happened, all this type of stuff. And I'm going to do a whole other video about, how to prepare, close out this year and how to prepare going into next year. Those will both be 2 live streams at the end of the year. All right, y'all. You know how I close it out. Remember to save more and say less, and keep making better your best. And I will catch y'all in the next one.